Hi, this is Stephanie. Welcome to Story Concierge. I'm so happy that you're here. Have you been told that your characters aren't believable? Are you having issues with your characters? Then watch this video because today I'm going to be talking to you about using acting techniques to make your characters stronger. For the best writing and storytelling advice, subscribe to my channel and ring that bell so you get notified every week when I post a new video. Let's get started. How can you use acting techniques to level up your characters in your writing? If you're constantly getting feedback about your characters not being believable, not being real, falling flat on the pages, there is something that you can do about it. If you can't figure out how to change your character to make them stronger, watch this video because I am going to give you tips that are going to help you strengthen your characters, get them out of that flatness that they may have, and make them real using acting techniques. First thing is, I want to tell you is that you really want your characters to be relatable, and when you're submitting, you want agents, producers, directors, you want them to crave more from that character. So when you're an actor, things that you learn are all about making that character real. It's what we are taught from very young. I started acting when I was a little kid, and one of the first things that I heard was use intentions. Now, what's an intention? If you're not an actor, you've probably never heard that word. The intention is why the character is doing everything that they're doing. It's the want that's talked about so often in writing. What does the character want in this scene? Well, in acting, it's called an intention. Use intentions to really dig deep and figure out what your character wants. You need to know this, and then every action that they do will be based on that. For example, I'm gonna go back to Friends, which if you're watching my videos, you know that I use Friends a lot, but I absolutely love that show, and I know it's a bit old, but it's easy to find. It's on Netflix, and you can actually Google episodes. So there is an episode in season 6 when Joey and Ross really want to go to Joey's new roommate Janine's party where they're going to be drinking and dancing because they want to hit on these girls. Now I know that sounds disgusting, but it's not the point of this video. They like these girls and they want to go to this thing. That is what they want. Everything that they do in that scene in the whole episode is to get them out of that apartment. Now, Rachel is making dessert. So her want is to not screw up the dessert. So everything that she says, everything that she does is about making this dessert because she doesn't want everybody to say, remember the Thanksgiving when Rachel screwed up the trifle? Which, by the way, if you haven't seen the episode, she does screw it up, of course, because it's a comedy. Now, Monica and Chandler just started living together. And Monica's really nervous that her parents are not going to accept it because her parents don't like Chandler based on something that Ross told them in high school. So everything that they do is to get Chandler to be more acceptable from the parents, like everything he says and everything he does. So it's a very funny episode. It's really well written. I highly suggest that you watch it. I will try to find a clip of it and post a link in the description, but that's what I mean by intentions. The actors who are acting in those scenes, the characters, they know the intention of the character in the scene. Joey and Ross, their intention is to leave the scene, or their want, as we say in novel writing. It's what do they want? They want to leave Monica's apartment because they want to go to this other party. Rachel wants to do a successful dessert. Chandler wants Mr. and Mrs. Geller to like him. So it's a clear example. There are so many that I could find. If there's one that you know and you love, please post it in the comments so we can all watch it and discuss it. Maybe we've seen it, maybe we haven't, but it's such a great tool. So that is tip number 1, is to really be clear on the intention of your character. An example from literature would be Jay Gatsby from The Great Gatsby. Now, what he wants throughout the entire book is Daisy's approval, because there's backstory there, and you find out that when he met Daisy, he was poor and he had nothing, and her parents did not approve of him, and therefore he couldn't marry her. So his plan way back when, before the book even started, was to go get rich and come back and win her. And so when we see the story, we know that that's his thing. Everything he is doing is for Daisy. Now, they did make a movie version of it. If you want to cheat, you can watch that one. It's quite good. There's a few versions. I like the Leonardo DiCaprio one because I love Leonardo DiCaprio, but read the book because the book is really amazing, and you'll see that everything that Jay Gatsby does is all about Daisy. It's brilliant. Okay, tip or step number 2 that you can do to help strengthen your characters is to act out the scenes. Now, you do not have to be an actor to do this. And what I mean is just literally act out the scenes. And it doesn't have to be great acting. I mean, block them out. So say I'm standing here and I'm speaking to my husband or my sister. There's going to be, my body language is going to be different. So if you act that out, like the character is in love with somebody, really put yourself in the place of that character and how are they going to feel. Now, is the person in love with them as well? Is it a forbidden love? Is it a hidden love? Like, okay, the shirt that I'm wearing is Dunder Mifflin Employee of the Month from The Office. In the first 3 seasons, Jim is in love with Pam. He is in love with Pam. Everything he does, he's in love with Pam. But she doesn't know it, and he's hiding it from her. So the way that he acts around her is very telling. So if those were to be written out, the way you might write the way that Jim leaned on the counter, or the way that he complimented her, or that he looked away from her, all of that is telling. And if you act it out, you will come to find the things that you need to make that real. So an exercise that you can do here is think of one of your characters. It has nothing to do with your story right now, but just think of one of your characters and have them do something that you do every single day. Like maybe they make coffee for themselves. How would they do it? Maybe they get a soda. Maybe they go out and get the mail, and have them do it like in whatever they slept in. Seriously, think about it and the way that they would react. So if they are a very shy person who doesn't want to be seen outside in their shorts and tank top, the way that they walk outside is going to be different. So if you act out that scene, you might go like this, you might cover yourself, you might put on a sweatshirt, you might put on long pants. But if you're like, if the character is carefree and doesn't care and is a little bit of an exhibitionist and she just wants to be outside and show everybody how hot she is, she's going to walk outside totally different. She's going to stand up straight, she's going to be showing off her body, and that's different. And if you go through those steps as your character, not as you, and not as you pretending to be your character, but as your character, you will discover things that you can then write down and use in your novel, or even in the screenplay, although I wouldn't do it in a screenplay. Like I said in my video about dialogue, it's better to let the actors figure that kind of stuff out. This is really more for novels. So please comment below on some of the things, some of the feedback that you're getting about your characters and why they're not working. And if you dare, I would love for you to share how you plan on fixing it, or things that you've tried, or even the exact feedback that you've gotten. I know it's very scary to share on a public forum, like things that have been said about your work, but if you can do it, I know that we can all help you, or maybe you'll even discover something by reading a comment about somebody else. So I encourage you to share feedback that you have gotten. The next tip that I'm going to say to help you by using acting techniques is to actually speak all the dialogue. It will help you really understand the character and the way that they speak, and you might find that you change some of the dialogue too. So it's a really good thing to just take everything that you've written down, get rid of all the extra stuff, just write out the dialogue and actually practice saying it out loud. You also will realize things that aren't working. It's just a very good way to dig deeper into the character. Now you have 3 tips. Let's recap. Tip number 1 is to think of the intention of your character, and why they do everything in that scene is based off that. Tip number 2 is to act out every scene, and tip number 3 is to actually speak the dialogue. The bonus tip that I'm going to give you about acting is, if you have the means and if you have the time, go take an acting class or an improv class. But I encourage you to take an acting class because it will help you understand character. And I really believe, I'm a character-driven writer, and I really believe it's because I wasn't acting for so long. It's ingrained in me. I always think about character first. Hopefully not to the detriment of story, because in storytelling, the way that I see it is storytelling is always first, but character is right there, because you cannot have a good story without good characters. The character is what drives the story, if that makes sense. So for me, being a character-driven writer, it's just something that's ingrained in me because of all the years I was in acting. So I encourage you to take an acting class. Maybe get a couple of your friends, maybe your critique partners, and just do one. Even if you do one online, if there's one that you can find, like it just will really help you get in touch with your characters. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and please share it with people. Please comment. Please subscribe. Thank you, and I will see you next week. Bye.